Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our weekly life webinar. We have Gerber on with us today, Miss Tonya Springer. She's the National Account Manager for Gerber Life. So we welcome her. We've done something with her before on this side of it with Gerber. So very excited about bringing back and always talking about the products. I know a lot of agents that we talk to, or a lot of agents that write this type of business. They love all the products that they have. They've been around forever. The name is obviously from a baby. I know the name, right? But nevertheless, we're going to bring Miss Tanya in. She's going to talk a little bit more about the products. And thank you for attending. If you have any questions or anything of that nature, put them in the box. Sorry for the delay, and we appreciate you being here. And you can take it away, Miss Tanya.
Okay, well, thank you, Britt, for that wonderful introduction. So I'm glad to hop on, and it's been a little bit, maybe a year since I've visited with you guys, but always welcome an opportunity to talk about Gerber Life. So this is my contact information. Over 30 years in the industry. I love what I do. I'm based out in Southern California. So Gerber is based in New York, White Plains, New York. So I'm on East Coast time to, accommodate the time zone for the Eastern Seaboard. But being out in California, I work a few extra hours so I can handle west of the Mississippi. So if you have agents that have questions, need help with clients, I'm available most evenings and even over the weekend a little bit. But that's my email and phone number. If anyone needs anything, more than glad to help out.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, before we dive in, I want to address that we are always interested in marketing and sales needs. So we want to hear from you what we need to do to help support your agency so we can help you sell even other products that have nothing to do with us, but just a good footprint we want to offer. So we are part of Western and Southern. That's our parent company. They acquired Gerber Life back in 2018, late that year, and we are sister companies to Columbus Life, that has more of an IUL presence, Lafayette Life, who has a more robust whole life insurance platform, and Integrity, although that's your parent company, but not that Integrity, but Western and Southern Distributors Integrity, who handles annuities for Western and Southern. So our value proposition, we like to say, is very easy to do business with Gerber, whether it's our products, which are very easy to understand and explain to your clients, which actually helps you sell better. People do what they understand. Quick turnaround times if you're using our e-app platform, especially with e-signature capability. And we just announced in the near future that we will have texting as a signature option for clients so we can stay more competitive. And we just have a simple one-page application. It's an extra half a page. We're utilizing the automatic check plan to pay for premiums. So currently we have 5 products, but our core products are the 3 here: Guaranteed Life, which we use for final expense and also impaired risk; the Grow Up Plan, which is our iconic children's whole life insurance; and the Accident Protection, which is really accidental death and dismemberment, has a place for us too. We use that obviously for accidental death and accidents that people don't die of, and also impaired risk for people younger than 50 years old. So why final expense? I like to kind of set the stage and, provide a little education. Why do we bother? Why is this important as part of somebody's insurance portfolio? So the average cost of a funeral right now is about $8,300. And I know that varies from state to state. I'm out in California where it might be more expensive than, having a funeral in Arkansas or Louisiana or some other part of the country. Um, so if you have to have a container for, then depending on where you are in the country, the covering to go over a casket for a traditional ground burial, then that's an extra almost $1,700, which makes the funeral by itself almost $10,000. And we all know there's other costs associated with that day. So cremation is gaining some steam now because it's a cheaper way to lay someone to rest, but that's still about $1,300. And the urn is almost $300. So I like this slide because it goes over some of the other costs associated with that day. So if you take a look, now this chart to the left is comparing the change in funeral costs from 2021 to 2 years ago, 2023. And this information is from the National Association of Funeral Directors. Now, I don't recommend, you know, looking at that at night unless it really doesn't bother you, but there's a lot of information in there that you can read to educate your clients. So you can see that although during this period of time, what was interesting is they were saying that funeral costs did not outpace the inflation rate at the time. But you can see there's still some increases, like embalming was up 9%. Having a hearse was up 7.1%. The only thing that stayed flat was a metal burial casket. So there was no change in the price there. Now, the other part of the chart here to the right shows across the country, like I mentioned earlier. So you can see, depending on where you are in the country, it could be real expensive, like in New England, which I was actually surprised to see that that was almost $9,000. And then, of course, if we're looking at Arkansas, West, South Central, that's about $7,900. But you can see it varies, cremation versus traditional funeral across the country. So this is something that you could talk with your clients about clearly so that they understand why this is important. So these are some additional links that you can go on. I'll leave this up for a second and kind of talk through it. So you can go on and educate yourself. So you can have these conversations with real facts with your clients. And I know that you guys, most of you are real big in the med submarket, which I really know zero about, so I will not ever take an opportunity to talk about it. But what I do know is you're sitting with that senior and you're going over their health insurance needs. And I think from what I think I understand, there's a period of time where you can't really talk about life insurance, possibly, but you can ask them if they have something in place for final expense. And chances are they don't, because they say over 60% of Americans currently do not have a plan for final expense. So unfortunately, these are some of the ways people, families go about final expense. So a GoFundMe. Now, a GoFundMe is great, but it takes time to raise money. A car wash or a bake sale, I'm out in Southern California where that seems to be the thing that people like to do, or, asking your family. Now, I was one of my other agencies was telling me that the average credit card debt is almost in the trillions. So good luck asking family and friends to help out with these significant expenses associated to laying someone to rest. So these are not very viable ways to go about it. What is having a product like ours that speaks to helping families lay their loved ones to rest with the respect and dignity they deserve. And that would be for us, the Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance product. So, I think Brent mentioned our branding is some of the best in the world. Unless you've been under a rock for a significant amount of time, most people have seen the iconic image of that baby's face. Even if you associate it with the baby food, baby products, like the toys and the clothing even, and educational instruments, we are known also for our life insurance platform. So you never have to explain our brand, and people across the country, over the world, around the world, are very comfortable with the company. Now, this product does not have any health questions or medical exam. There is zero underwriting, okay? So this is a sample of a chart that represents some face amounts, male and female, and some ages. But we have a more comprehensive chart that shows all the ages and face amounts across the top. And I'm more than happy to send that out to anyone that needs that. So we'll take a quick look at the product specs. So we do need a client age 50 to 80, 50 to 75 if you're selling in New York. If anyone's selling in Montana, I apologize. We still do not sell in Montana. Not sure why. And you can purchase up to $25,000 of the guaranteed whole life insurance. It does build up a little cash value, but we're really not selling it for that. And just to mention our sister company, Lafayette Life, if you're looking for more of a, outlay of cash accumulation, then you might want to look at them if you want to stick with a whole life type of thought for the
I
client.
would absolutely agree with that.
And well, thank you. The death benefit is a 2-year graded, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few seconds. So I do want to repeat No underwriting. There's guaranteed issue as long as we hit the age banding, as long as we have a US citizen or a legal resident. We are talking about having the capability of offering this product for I-10 customers, but we're not there yet. And there's an 8% discount if you're using our automatic check plan, which is actually reflected on the rate card if you're looking at that. So this is a snapshot of our easy one-page application, but I want to direct your attention to the fourth bullet point, choose a preferred payment date, and why this is important. So we don't say the premium has to be paid on the 1st or 10th or whatever date, as long as we're keeping February in mind, so it's always appropriate going forward. You can literally pick any day of the month. And why this is important is you can pair it when that senior is getting their benefits loaded or when they have whatever pension is going to be in their checking account. So you don't have to worry about the money being there. So the policies have better retention staying on your books. Okay, so you don't have to, we all know in the life insurance industry, if you ever had this happen, you have a client that misses a draft, then 1 month turns to 2, then it turns to 3, and before you know it, they can't catch up and that policy lapses. So this is one way that we help you avoid that. Okay, so how about that 2-year graded death benefit? Now, I always say here, look, we don't think or believe that anyone has a crystal ball and knows when someone's going to expire, but we're just asking you to make your best judgment when you're dealing with your prospects and clients. Because if they pass away in the first 2 years, there's a chargeback of commissions, but also the death benefit simply becomes a return of premiums paid with 10% simple interest. So think back to the $8,300 without a vault cost of a funeral. You're not really helping the family doing that. Now, some people have said, okay, well, you put a couple, depending on when they died, there's some money, a little forced savings, but again, it's not enough for what we need to do with that family. So if you have somebody critically ill, terminally ill, they're in a nursing home for a very significant reason, might not be one of your best choices, okay? So this is a very good tool that we're very proud of. So this is our funeral expense worksheet. It's available on our agent portal. And again, I'm happy to send this to anyone who wants to take a look and use it. But this helps you with the client. You sit down with the client. You can use it 2 ways. You can go on the National Association of Funeral Directors. You can pre-populate it and use it as a handout or something you're using with your clients. But my preferred method, if I were going to do it, is to have your client go on their phone, get on the internet, or get on your computer if they're in your office, and look up these costs and put them in themselves. That way they have some skin in the game and they're seeing in real time, what these things cost. Now, once you complete it, and it goes from everything from burial to the real estate to specialty items, like if you want to release doves, butterflies, whatever people like to do to honor their loved ones. You add up all the costs, you circle it, you look at the client and simply ask them, Mr. and Mrs. Client, when the aliens come and take you away, who's paying for this? Now, we did this exercise in Napa, California for one of my other groups, and all in was about $44,000. So who really has 44,000, almost $50,000, lying around to pay for this? But you can help your clients get ahead of this by presenting this product or having some kind of plan to get ahead of this. Okay, so the other consideration for the guaranteed life is underwriting outcome. So if you're writing traditional life insurance, you know that sometimes your clients get declined due to lifestyle, financial considerations, and obviously health. They can also land in something called postpone, which they might have some sort of condition now where an offer of insurance is not extended, but maybe in a year or 2 or 6 months, depending on what it is, that underwriter may be more comfortable to offer insurance. But the point is you don't have it when you applied for it. The other two, table rated and flat rate extra, are offers of insurance, but because they're, adding extra cost per thousand or an extra fee, flat fee, you could make the insurance offer more not budget friendly for the average senior, especially. So when I brought this up so you can look at us for more than declined. I think in my mind, I think that people only think of impaired risk with us for declined clients. But if you have somebody postpone, table rated or a flat rate extra, then please give us a look. So are there any questions about guaranteed life product before we move on to the children's insurance. All righty. Well, the Grow Up Plan is our number one product, selling product on our direct to consumer side of the fence. So this is the one you see on the TV, maybe some circulars out in neighborhoods or some financial publications. But basically, you buy insurance for a child today and it automatically doubles when they turn 18 without any additional underwriting. So this one is simplified issue. There's two questions. So question one is associated with the birth in the first year of that child's life. Any conditions that came up during the birth, the condition of the birth, things of that nature. Question two does not have to be if the child is more than 1 years old, you don't have to answer question one. It's question two, which is the first 5 years of their life. Are there any emotional disturbances at that time? Any cardiac or pulmonary diseases? So we need a baby age 14 days old at least. We need a live birth. Up to age 14 years old, you can purchase up to $50,000 of the children's whole life insurance. So let's take a look at what I mentioned, doubling of coverage. So there's no additional questions when they turn 18 and it automatically doubles. So if someone bought a 1-year-old, $50,000 of coverage, the annual premium is $439.60. When they turn 18, the 50,000 becomes 100,000 for the same $439.60. So there's no increase in the premium, but there's double the coverage. So it takes about 14 seconds, give or take, to say that to a client and they get it. When I travel, I'll have a Western or Southern bag or a Gerber or something and the Uber driver sees it. And oh, I saw that on the commercial, but I don't get it. And then I say that and they go, oh, but I run the contract not to sell. So I always pass that lead over to one of our agencies. But it's really simple because people get it. And it's very expensive. I think if you break the 439.60 in, on a monthly, I think it's like what, 33 or $36. So very, very affordable. So this is something I want to kind of go over. I know I said we're not going to go hard in the paint, but I just feel compelled to talk about this because this is really why we
You're in the
sell the
game.
product. I'm in the game. I was a point guard, so yeah, I'm in the But anyway, so we have something called guaranteed purchase option. It's not a rider, it's part of the contract. So the child, when they turn 21, are the legal owners of the policy. So at age 21, 25, 30, 35, or 40, or certain life events, they get married, have a child, or adopt a child. They have up to 4 times where they can increase the face amount. Now, at that time, after the first doubling, they will pay the cost of insurance, whatever the market is bearing for us at that time. So remember at age 18, it went from 50,000 to 100. So at age 25, they exercise this option and they add an extra 100,000. Now I want to back up just for a second. They can't go more than 10 times the original face amount. So in this example, the most they can get is 500,000 because they started at 50. So they get married, they exercise again, they add another 100,000 at age 35, whatever reason, they do it again. And then the last opportunity, which is the fourth one, they have their first baby and they add the last 100,000. So they max this out at 500,000. Now, why this is significant is because let's say, remember I said there's no underwriting at this point. Let's say that child, for some reason, the best example I have is they develop type 1 diabetes. Now, we all understand that there's no cure for that, and that's an uninsurable adult. Only thing that would change that is underwriters being a little bit more lenient. And even after the COVID incident, they're more skittish and less forgiving on the underwriting in a lot of cases and or medical advances, but we're not there with the way to manage type 1 diabetes where it's not scary for an underwriter. So if that happened to that child, now an adult, because they have this program and this plan in place, they have an opportunity to leave a legacy to their family. Because remember, it doesn't matter if that happened on our watch, this insurance is in place. So that's really the power on top of the magic of the doubling. This is really why we have this product. We're literally insuring someone's insurability, if you understand that. Okay, so what's new at Gerberland? Well, we changed our, and I don't have an image of it, we changed our logo, speaking of the baby's head. It's still the same baby's head, but there's a G around it. Now, I'm not particularly a fan, but nobody asked me. I thought just leave it alone, just like it is. But it's still the baby's head, just with the G. So if you see that on the website, or you see that on some of the marketing materials, that's the story behind that. For our accidental death and dismemberment, which I didn't really go over today, we were going from 250,000 to 500,000 face amount, so we can stay more competitive there. And just to mention, we do use that product as a health product, so you need a health insurance license to sell it, but we use it for a catastrophic accident to the eyes, the hands, or the feet, or someone obviously dies of an accident other than suicide. So that's pretty much what's new. But we also have, from a technology point of view, we have something called Agency Direct. Now, this, if you're familiar with Ethos or Bestow, this is a consumer experience. So we literally customize a link for an agent or an agency, and you can pass this to your clients. And then they can go on. Millennials love it because they never like talking to people usually. They want to click on everything and handle it themselves. I'm older, so I'm more of a face-to-face person, or have some interaction or whatever. But they can go on, or anyone can go on really, and they can do a quote. And if they like the quote, they have the option to complete an application. There's no agent involvement other than you're notified that, hey, somebody requested a quote and somebody did an application and submitted it. We don't revenue share, so all the commission stays with the agent or that agency. So that's how we're more competitive, with the landscape now offering this service. So if anyone wants to pursue this, we have a form that you fill out. Our IT team takes a look. We just want to make sure you have the capability to support it, in a way to like a business plan of some sort to distribute it before we go through all the trouble of putting the link together for you.